Hi friends, my name is Andres Bezdar. I'm an architect and designer. I'll show you today my super unusual house. Today I will show you the finished house, its interior, landscape, shared design solutions, and talk about my experience of living in the out of town since I have been living here for 8 months. There is a lot to share. Give us a like once more for the work done, because I have been building this house for 4 years. In general, this work is coming to an end. My house is 1,600 square feet, my first try living outside the city to understand what it's like. There are only 2 of us, and we don't really need a larger house. The house already looks bigger than it is because there is a separate utility block connected to the house by a canopy. This forms a carport, increasing the area of the house and making it more architecturally interesting. Soon we will be expanding the area of this house. For this, I have conceived an expansion project. For example, there will be a spa complex here, which will be connected to the house. And this part, the rather empty meadow in front of the house, which is currently unused territory, in the future the house will be expanded here to 2,700 square feet. The house is located on a quite interesting plot, which we shaped while designing the house. We thought out where a person sits and what landscape views open up. We created this geoplasticity, created the ponds there. Our plot is 0.86 acre. We don't have any solid fence, just a hedge. The house has panoramic views and we live all alone with nature. It is very beautiful. In terms of its constructive system, this is a wooden half-timbered house where 60% of the wall area consists of double-glazed windows. Moreover, these are frameless double-glazed windows connected through a spacer bar with a piece of glass glued to it, and from here we see such a continuous glass surface, which is very beautiful. From the road, the northern facade is solid facing the neighbors and the entrance to the house is located there. This is a half-timbered house with a flat roof, which is quite unusual. Around the perimeter of the roof we made a special tray where we will now plant tall cereal grass. And it will be very beautiful when you drive up to the house. You will see a solid facade made of wooden planks of varying widths with grass on the roof. In the very center of the house I have a tree growing, which is another one unusual feature. And along the entire facade, there is a continuous line of trees that were already here. We preserved this line of trees, and when designing the house, I oriented it towards this part. Here we created 2 ponds. One pond is smaller, the other one is larger. These are swimming ponds. It took us quite a long time to make them, and there were a huge number of mistakes. At first, we initially wanted to make these ponds out of clay. Then we realized that it was impossible to swim in such ponds. We redesigned everything and made them out of membrane. So, there are membrane foundations here, a lot of engineering work, and overall, in my opinion, it turned out to be a very beautiful landscape environment which this house overlooks. Another interesting aspect is the terraces. The house is 1,600 square feet, but the terrace is over 1,100 square feet. So 1,100 is just these lower terraces. And there's also a bridge that goes over the lower pond and the upper pond, and it comes out with this fireplace onto the lower pond. It's actually very beautiful. You can watch the fish swim, and you can light a fire right here on this platform in the middle of the water. Fire, water, swimming fish, and in general, all of this is so natural and beautiful. Let me tell you a little bit more about the terraces themselves, because I have quite a hard experience with their maintenance. I tried various different options. I tried larch, I tried pine. In the end, I ultimately removed both the larch and the pine from here and replaced them with thermally modified wood, probably because the maintenance for larch and pine is very difficult. It has to be done almost 3 times a season, which is quite a lot of work and effort. How long is the actual season? 5 months in our climate. So 3 times in those 5 months, which means every 1.5 months, you need to renew this board. I had lots of problems with pine. There was resin coming out of it, and I really had to scrape off that resin and actually repaint it. In the end, I calculated how much money I was spending on these terraces, on their maintenance, and I just threw out the old board and replaced it with a new one. Look at how beautiful this new board on the terrace is now. This is actually a super ugly terrace. I want it to be nice and even. This type of wood changes its linear dimensions by literally 0.04 inch. Just imagine 0.04 inch. It is a very stable wood, and that is its primary advantage. Next, during thermal treatment, the wood loses its polysaccharides. These are substances that attract all kinds of bugs, insects, and generally anything that can live in a regular terrace, but here they never do. That's why this wood is stable. Yes, it also needs some maintenance as it is a natural material. Among living materials, it is the most reliable, yet it requires maintenance once a season. Just apply varnish without any polishing, varnish, oils, impregnations, depending on what you use. In my case, it's oil. Once a season is not much, it's pleasant to do it yourself, and your terrace will always be in good condition. My terrace has two parts. There's the lower terrace and the upper terrace. Here you can have breakfast, lunch or dinner when there's no scorching sun. As you can see, there's no canopy here. And I didn't want to build it because it would have blocked the view of the beautiful pond. So, having dinner here in cool weather will be just great. The staircase leads directly to the kitchen. It's convenient. The upper terrace is also open now. There are sunbeds there, from which you can go directly down to our beach. And we swim here all the time. It's awesome. You wake up in the morning, go for a swim in the pond, relax on a lounger, gather your thoughts, have a coffee and head to work. Nevertheless, there is a wooden structure here that includes a sliding sunshade, which will be controlled through a smart home system. Press the button, create some shade, you can put some sofas there and relax on this terrace. The terraces themselves are black in color, and that's probably one of the reasons why resin stood out on this natural pine wooden board. Well, because it heats up a lot, resin is extracted, and resin pockets open up. Cleaning this resin was just useless. It would pop back up in 2 to 3 weeks. And thermally modified wood, of course, doesn't release any resin, but I still left it in black because it's definitely my most preferred color. In my opinion, thermal wood looks the most aesthetically pleasing in this color. Moreover, we entered the space through the hallway. This is the kind of space that many architects completely forget to create. It's a super important space, and it's important to do it right so that when you enter, you see something beautiful. Remember, diagonally to the left is where a person always glances. That's the way we are, but if you look right at my layout, there's a wall right here and over there. You can see a bit of the living room. Moreover, the ceiling rises higher there, so we are opening it up, but we are not showing it completely yet. It's not right to see the living room when you enter. If you see the living room, it means the people in the living room see the person who came in with bags and a jacket. It's not very good. In fact, this hallway can be spoken about for a long time. It is interesting right from the front door because it has a smart lock. This particular lock recognizes me when I have my mobile phone in my pocket, meaning it reads the NFC tag and the door opens for me. At the same time, when I close it, it automatically locks and is always secure. It's very convenient. You don't have to worry about whether you forgot to lock the door or turn off the iron. When you have a smart home, there are these features. It's kind of super convenient. Additionally, it locks like a safe, with that sound. This turn of the handle so you feel really secure. Here we basically have security system. Actually, I might tell you about the smart home system separately sometime, because it's a huge topic that I worked on for a long time, and here we have a really super smart home. But let's talk about the interior now. The main emphasis probably that we see when we come in here is this tree. So there's a live tree growing inside the house. It's awesome in any season. I highly recommend it. I chose a rather interesting tree to plant here. It has been growing here for 3 years now. It's contorta hazel. This is a decorative hazelnut. It has very curly branches. It is very beautiful. It has a sculptural form. What else should be said about it? First, it's not just a flask in which a tree grows. There's quite a bit of engineering in there. There's a drip irrigation system and there's a drainage system. So all the rain that falls from above, as you can see, there's no window on top. Accordingly, all the rain, snow, and other precipitation go into the drainage. To be more precise, it goes through the drainage system directly into the pond. Because I have a pond, and after all, rain is clean water, it goes straight into the pond. It is important to prevent water from getting under the foundation, crucial to have drainage systems like these. Next is the electrical output here. We haven't used it, but in the future, if we want to put something luminous here, like a glowing ball or something else, if we want to create some kind of composition, there is an electrical output there. Next is the air exchange. A pipe is laid there, covered with this white pebble. And in general, the pipe, due to the pressure difference, creates an air exchange in this flask so that the air moves here, doesn't stagnate, and the tree can grow. These are basic things, but they must be taken into account. What didn't I foresee? Now I realize that it would have been right to make it twice as big. The reason for this is that the house is very warm. In the cold winter months, when it's freezing outside, this house effectively warms the interior with its heat through the large, energy-efficient windows. And the tree, due to the size of this atrium, also gets warmed up. I would make this atrium bigger. I would make it about twice as big now. And I would suggest you make the door from inside the building. My entrance is only from the outside. And that's because if we had actually put a door here, it would have been a really huge door frame. I mean this thick. And it would have lost this aesthetic, beautiful glass flask. Connection with nature, the flow of interior space, all of this would be lost with such a small atrium. There's no need to add a door. But if you are making a large atrium for 2 or 3 trees, like a real garden, then of course, make an entrance from the street. We get in here through the roof. I'll upload a video showing it. The gardener climbs in here to clean up the leaves in the autumn. It's done simply, no issues with it at all. But my advice to you is to make it twice as big, it will be even cooler. In this room we have a low ceiling. This is done on purpose. The ceiling here is 6.5 feet. The ceiling in the rooms is 8.4 feet. And the ceiling in the large common area is 9.8 feet. I believe that the ceiling height should be proportional to the size of the rooms. Since corridors are narrow, small spaces, and hallways are also small spaces, the ceiling here is low. It creates an interesting effect when you move from a low-ceilinged room to a very high one. Since the space is small, it is all white, except for the glass and mirror, meaning it has a white ceiling, a white wall, there's a hidden white door. This is the door to the bathroom, it's almost invisible, a white smart home panel. Now let's move from this room to the living room. I'll tell you about it. Friends, we are entering the living room. Its area is approximately 780 or 810 square feet. I don't remember exactly. But the thing is, everyone who comes to visit me says it's probably about 970 square feet. It feels like the space is made larger due to the glazing on 3 sides. We see the terrace, we see the lawn. Your eye is going far away, making the space seem very large. It is not big, the ceiling height is greater, and there's this effect I told you about. As soon as we enter, we see a very interesting sofa. It's a panoramic sofa, you can sit on it from all sides. In this part, you can sit right by the fireplace. Moreover, it is on such clips, meaning you can move it aside and sit right by the fireplace. This is a table that can also be moved, creating an interesting atmosphere here. This part of the sofa is basically one very large lounge with portable rollers. They are indeed sturdy. You won't move the rollers just by sitting down, but you can actually adjust both seat depth and backrest angle with them. It's convenient. It is made with super high quality. Even if you turn it over, look at it from different sides, from different angles. Check the quality of the veneering on this base. Next to the sofa, we have a small table made of polished metal and a carpet with beautiful patterns. I chose it in some salon and I actually really liked it because these patterns are similar to the patterns of a fireplace. The fireplace is also made of polished metal. Actually, it's cool that it wasn't like this initially, but we made it from high-quality cold-rolled steel. Brutal. With large stripes transitioning from black to various shades of gray, it seemed too brutish to me. We completely polished it down, leaving polishing marks, and the carpet complements them. It is also very important when the decor complements certain elements of the interior. On this side, opposite the sofa, we have a TV stand. I really like the solution with the frame around the TV here. This is a TV specifically designed to be built into a frame. And it could have been placed even closer to the wall, but a niche would have been needed. In general, I didn't make a niche because this wall is made of solid concrete. So we poured it right away with the electrical wiring. It would have been quite difficult to make such a deepening there. I just made a very thick frame, and I really like how it turned out. Just a sound system, just a huge cabinet under the TV. We once gave away this cabinet among our subscribers. And the folks who won it barely fit into their apartment. I mean, it's a massive 17 feet long. And of course, everything is placed there, meaning all the consoles, all the stuff for the TV, all the controls for the acoustic system, and so on. There is an open section here. So, regarding the monolithic concrete, all my interior partitions are poured from monolithic concrete. And this is part of my overall house concept. The outside contour is insulated, it's warm, it's wooden. At the same time, all the interior partitions are concrete, monolithic, and inertial. They accumulate heat, accumulate cold in the summer, and gradually water, thereby improving the microclimate in the house. No finishing needed. You pour such a wall, and it remains in interior, decorative. Some people imitate such walls with plaster, spending much money, but here it is a real monolith, which is partially polished. When you polish concrete, a texture of small stones forms. It's also beautiful. When it's just very smooth, it's like this. Also beautiful. I have installed lighting here specifically to shine on this wall. There is also a niche for a projector because the TV, if I'm not mistaken, is 82 inches. However, that's not enough for the size of this living room. I want to put a projector here. The projection screen will come out here, and overall, it will be an addition to this relaxation area. You look to the right at the serene pond and the beautiful nature. You look to the left at the cozy fireplace. Here you have an amazing TV projector and stunning sculptures. I recently met a talented sculptor and I immediately bought, I think, 8 sculptures from him. Starting with these very small ones, he creates such interesting, authentic, slightly ethnic sculptures. This is fire clay ceramics, but he also makes sculptures from branches, bark, and stone using various natural forms. They are also displayed on this interesting shelf. They are right there. If we look at the pond, those decorative stones, right there is an interesting sculpture of a bionic shape, which probably reminds me of a fish, definitely. I coordinated the placement of these sculptures in relation to the positions in the interior. That is, when you sit on the sofa. From here you can see the sculpture on the pond. When you are actually cooking in the kitchen, you can see a sculpture that stands in front of the fence. It is shaped like bird wings. 9.8 feet by 6.5 feet. Place it at the entrance. It will be like an entrance to a park. It will be clear that a creative person lives here. I have a lot of works by artists in my apartment. And in the house, I am also starting to collect beautiful sculptures. By the way, this decorative item here, it's a little bird. It glows like this. This is also a design piece from an architectural company. Since we started talking about art and sculptures, for example, here I collect not only sculptures, but I also have a collection of money. Books about design, which are very interesting and informative. These are the books that I study design from. Collection of bare brick. There are 4 of them, indicating this is just the beginning of the collection. The shelf is quite interesting. It is made of polished metal, which matches the fireplace and this table. The base is made of particle board. No one would definitely say that this is particle board, because if we look, we see polished metal and 2 thin lines. Actually, it's a kind of edge, a peculiar edge for particle board. It makes it look really expensive. That is, it visually appears very costly. Actually, it's quite inexpensive. The base is just a sheet of polished metal, and the body is made of particle board with this very interesting edge. Note to self: a good solution doesn't always cost a fortune. Friends, let me share a bit more of my experience. If you have a fireplace at home, definitely get these bark-free firewood. I mean the kind of perfectly dry firewood that doesn't stain your interior, that you can get out of that firewood without getting, I don't know, dirt and dust and bark pieces in there. It's such interior firewood that keeps the fire going. Do not dirty the fireplace glass. No soot, grime or anything else. This is very important. I didn't know this. Now I'm definitely ordering this type of firewood for myself. You might have noticed that in both the hallway and the living room I have a seamless monolithic floor. This is micro cement. It is used throughout the house. It's even in the shower, it's even in the bathroom. I don't have any tiles, there's no tiles. absolutely no tiles. It's awesome. I'm proud that I have only one door and absolutely no tiles. Microcement is resistant to moisture. Walking here in heels is fine. If it is covered with good varnish, epoxy, another layer of varnish, so properly sealed, then it is practically a timeless floor. Even if it definitely gets some scratches, it will still look cool because it has that handcrafted natural vibe. In such a large area, of course, there are thermal seams, and they are visible here. This thermal seam is the joint of the floor to prevent cracks. We specifically chose places where it could be done, usually along the lines of the rooms, but these seams are practically invisible. Moreover, I have a wooden ceiling, which is also unusual. Usually people have a concrete ceiling and a wooden floor, like parquet. In my case, it's the opposite. The floor is concrete and the ceiling is wooden. Why did I do it this way? Firstly, this is a continuation of the wooden house's style. We see concrete partitions up to the level of 8.2 feet, which transit into the floor. From here, we see a wooden bar that transitions into a wooden ceiling. Actually, this kind of transition from interior to exterior is truly beautiful. Another point is that there are still quite a lot of connections under the ceiling. We didn't want to completely hide them and cover them with drywall. We wanted to still have access to them. Here are located the pipe and the air conditioner deflector through which air flows. It is located right behind these planks, a really cool solution. There are absolutely no signs of an air conditioner here, yet the room still definitely maintains a good microclimate because the air flows in through these planks. Moreover, some of these planks seem to hang over the concrete walls, forming niches where the light is located. So we are also using this ceiling for lighting, which is also very beautiful. Another design secret and trick is that the width of this plank is relatively small. And because there is a large room where the ceiling is made with small planks, the room seems even bigger. This effect of a large room is effectively enhanced. It's definitely the same thing with the decking boards. You shouldn't use this corduroy type decking board that's fluted, that's so wide. It's much cooler if you lay a small decking board. If it matches the size of the facade plank, your terrace will visually look bigger. And also, the decking board won't twist as much because it's smaller. The wider the board, the more it twists. This becomes obvious over time. Such a board lasts longer and looks beautiful. Its size matches the size of the facade. And this same concept is repeated in the interior, where everything is made with small planks. I will tell you about the kitchen. Now I will just say that it is an island type, and this is important because when you are cooking, you can interact with those in the living and dining room, and you are not turned away towards the wall. And it wouldn't have worked out in an entirely different manner here, because the entire room is made of glass. The only solid wall we have is in this particular part, and we placed all the appliances here. So, there are 2 modern refrigerators, a microwave, an oven, a dishwasher, and 2 large freezers at the bottom. So, this entire segment is all about appliances. Actually, it's very convenient. Here we have glasses for all occasions in life. On that side we have a wine bar. Overall, it's a pretty interesting kitchen pillar and a huge island. The length of this island is more than 16 feet. It's about 18, approximately 18. Here too are some interesting artworks. This particular stone, it perfectly complements this kitchen with its minimalist design. The kitchen is very interesting because its quartz stone surface transitions into polished metal. So, as you can see, my favorite material is polished metal. I actually have it in this kitchen appliance Nef. It's an Italian brand. This is a teppanyaki type. If you've ever been to a seafood restaurant where the seafood is prepared like seafood bar and such, they have these very large griddles where they cook right on them. So you don't need a frying pan here, you can cook directly on this surface. It's a kind of grill for seafood. Here we have an Elica extractor hood, an expensive Italian extractor. Actually, I'm not very satisfied with how it extracts because it only works well with these 2 burners. From here, not all the steam goes into the exhaust, which, in my opinion, is not right. We've gotten used to cooking this way. The cooktop is quite interesting because it has its own remote, a magnetic remote, which definitely acts as a child safety feature. You can remove the remote and the child can freely play around without being able to turn on the cooktop in any way. Here we have these little pockets where you can store oil, for example, when you are cooking. It's quite an unusual kitchen. On one hand, it's indeed very beautifully designed, and on the other hand, It somewhat resembles a professional kitchen with polished metal and these cooking pockets. And one more piece of advice. Since I promised to share my experience and give some useful tips, make these tables where you can place teapots, coffee machines, and other items and appliances that wouldn't look very nice on a kitchen island combined with the living room. So, when we enter the living room, we don't want to see the toaster and other kitchen appliances. For this, there is a separate table, also made of polished metal, with its own outlets. I call this a tea table because I have many types of tea here, and when guests come over, we can prepare something here. A huge table for 6 people. It's very interesting because it has a veneered top, a solid wood countertop, and legs. Everything is chosen to look solid. I was inspired by the tables you see in an Apple store. When you visit a cool Apple store, there are very beautiful wooden tables. Very simple, minimalistic shape. Why did I make it out of solid wood? Because when you clean the floor, you can definitely damage the veneer here, and solid wood is more resistant to these impacts. At the same time, if the countertop is made of solid wood, it is glued from slats. This is very colorful and not minimalistic in the interior, so we made it from veneer. About the drapes. As you can see, these particular drapes have even folds, but they are just regular fabric drapes. These are not roller blinds, as many people use in modern houses. Why did I make this decision? When we take roller blinds and close them in the evening, they close with a flat surface, right? When it's dark outside the window, they literally look like a wall, just like a solid black wall. And when I imagined that in the evening it would be a black box, I felt discomfort actually. So, I changed that decision and removed the roller blinds from the project, and we ordered these fabric house drapes instead. Of course, these drapes have an electric drive because it's practically impossible to walk around and close the drapes by hand. Press one button and they all close. In scenarios like leaving the house, you press a button indicating absence, the curtains close, the door locks, and the lights turn off. In short, this is basically a smart home. We have a separate video about the smart home. Now, let's go and I'll show you my office. Look at this interesting layout. These very beautiful and solid concrete walls divide the space. Over there is the entrance to the primary bedroom, and here is the entrance to the office. This atrium with the tree also divides the space. It's not divided into rooms as usual, where rooms are little boxes in the layout, and hallways are elongated rectangles. There's nothing like that here. Here the space is more open. I actually enjoy it. At the same time, there's a niche here to install a door. So far, it hasn't been necessary. And the office is just kind of an isolated part of the overall open space. The office is white, and this is important as in architecture. It's crucial to focus on the object, not the room's design. So, the office is very simple, and its main feature is this view. When we just walk in and look out the window which opens, we see an amazing pond. Please excuse me for praising this landscape design, but I would strongly recommend designing the landscape and interior together to create these visual interconnections, to create feelings. Because when you live in a house, it's not about how much your furniture costs or how many square feet the house is. It's about the feeling you get, the experience you have when you move from one room to another. This is super important. And as we walk along, we see the tree, we see the pond, and then we pass by, we sit down, and we see a computer. So, it's absolutely very convenient to get into work mode this way. Our style is so-called natural minimalism. And this beautiful nature that surrounds us here, it allows us to create amazing projects. The only thing to say here is that this is a workspace for 2 people. You can sit on one side and you can sit on the other side. A huge table. This is how the wires run through it. I mean, everything here is quite simple and prosaic. And it's just a good place to work. On this side, there's a cabinet. Above the locker, we can see a grid for the air conditioner. It is hidden in a niche, the poster I bought from the Design Museum in Copenhagen. All the modernist chairs here are depicted. Above the table, there is a pendant light. So the light in the niche is the main light that fills the space, but there is also directed light for work. I actually designed this lamp as well, just like most of the interior items here. All the built-in furniture such as the sofa, the table, and the lamp. So a lot of items, 90% were actually designed by me. The drapes again are the same very nice drapes. Unfortunately, our cat sometimes makes rips in these drapes. That's definitely a disadvantage. By the way, our cat is also a part of the interior. We specifically chose him to match the color scheme of the decor. Alright, so we've come to the primary bedroom and this is how it closes. I'll show you a cool feature to create privacy right here. We press one button and this glass becomes opaque. This is smart glass. Interestingly, both partitions are movable. So this partition here also moves. This is needed to clean this window, and it caused a lot of difficulties for many contractors. Almost no one could make two sliding partitions, both with the smart glass function. Here, everything works perfectly, and just look at how well it closes. I mean, we can throw it quite hard. It will get there safely. Same goes for sure for the way back. Why did I install this absolutely expensive system here? The thing is, this is the bathroom block, so we enter directly into the bathroom. And you say it's strange it's not done this way. Usually you enter the wardrobe area or the bedroom area, but not the bathroom. This is the pre-bedroom area, so there's a vanity table here, and here are various different things and items for a woman. Here is the sink, and all these things in the bathroom that should be hidden, like the toilet for example, are actually behind a separate door in the bathroom. So it's actually a separate bathroom. Or look at this shower, see how huge the shower is. And note that there are no tiles here. There's a concrete wall that's smoothly polished. They are all completely hidden behind this tinted black glass. And we just enter pre-bedroom area. I really like this layout structure because in the evening you come in, brush your teeth, walk through the dressing room, take off your clothes, and go to bed. In the early morning you wake up, get dressed, wash up, and then step into the house. So this is a quite logical and natural typology of rooms along the way. It's important to hide the bathroom, to hide the shower, things that need to be hidden. At the same time, the smart glass allows you to visually separate this area from the rest of the house if guests come over and you don't want to be seen. Very convenient. And when you wash your face in the morning, you look at a very beautiful tree. This is our natural minimalism, our style. It looks great. What does this area consist of? In fact, these are two hanging stands with glass in between. They are cantilevered, meaning they have no pillars. I've already told about this wall. It's very complex. To make this wall, we had to install metal inserts racks. Mount the cantilevered stand on brackets. It's made of stone. Overall, it turned out quite interesting. At the same time, this is a warm wall. In my house, heating is from underfloor heating and warm walls. There are pipes for the warm wall here. And there is a convection output for heat. This gap here, the mirror doesn't quite reach this niche where the light is built in. Look, this is just how it lights up and warm air comes out from there. Why is this good? So, there are no heating devices. Instead, there's underfloor heating and a heated wall. The mirror sweats less because there's a heater right behind it. The electrical system is built in here. Over there I have things like my toothbrush charging, for example. There's a trimmer. And all these various devices in my section are on charge because the electrical outlets are right inside these dividers. I highly suggest do this kind of thing in the bathroom, and I strongly advise adding lighting in all kitchen cabinets and wardrobe closets, so in the evening you can just open a cabinet and it will be lit up without turning on the main light. This is the kind of stuff that when you've lived it, you gain experience and can advise clients. That's why I'm building a house, to gain a lot more experience and also be able to advise my clients on useful things. Let's move on. The wardrobe is quite small. It's interesting how the lighting is done here. We see the ceiling drop, the light in the niches, the light is warm, which is 3000 kelvins. I have light everywhere at 2700, 3000 kelvins. It also reflects here from the plywood niche and gives a warm, filling light. At the same time, the wardrobe cabinets also have lighting. They have various pull-out storage systems here and incredibly beautiful glass cabinets in thin frame. On both sides there are glass cabinets. This cabinet is completely transparent so that light can pass through it, meaning it doesn't take up space. A mirror on both sides, that's my idea. So there's this recursion effect, a mirror on this side, a mirror on that side. Often, how do they make a wardrobe? It's like a closet, a wall. You walk in, put something on, but you can't really see yourself because it's narrow. And here it's spacious. There's a lot of room and it's comfortable. And when you walk in, it's also comfortable. On the other hand, my bedroom is small, not much space in the bedroom. I did this on purpose. You know, some people make their bedrooms 540 square feet. The ceiling is 20 feet high or there's a sloped roof. I've been in such bedrooms and I feel uncomfortable. There's an echo, it's hard to sleep there. For me, the bedroom is like a really cozy little den. You lie down, fall asleep, and it's just like you're in a little house. And that's exactly how it is here. Since the bedroom space is very small, we made it in the form of a podium, meaning the bed is a podium, and we functionally used every single storage element. And here we also placed storage in this podium with servo drives so it all lifts up. There we store bed linen, towels, everything that should be kept in the bedroom to avoid taking up space in the closets. If we hadn't done this, we would have had the option to either store everything under the bed, but the bed is inconvenient to lift, or to make some additional locker. And so this place is functionally used, plus the podium connects the bed area with the wardrobe area. If we stand here, we absolutely doesn't feel it like a climb at all. I mean, it's just a furniture structure. You can walk on it, it doesn't sag, it doesn't creak, nothing. 2 nightstands. There's also light here. The walls that aren't concrete are either mirrored or plastered, which means there are also warm wall pipes underneath them. If there are no warm wall pipes, meaning there's no wall heating, then here it's actually polished concrete. That's our concept. And this podium here, it's edged with soft fabric. Very beautiful upholstery. As you saw, there's a cat in the house. And if the cat pulls on something, it's not noticeable here because the fabric itself is like that. We brought it from Italy and we use it in furniture, in ottomans, and here in the furniture as well. And importantly, it's a terrace. It's like an extension of the bedroom. There are 2 lounge chairs and we see the boundary of the terrace and it's as if the bedroom extends up to that point. And of course the step down from the terrace to our own beach. Actually, I see it like this. I haven't done it yet, but I really want to start. Woke up, opened the door, stepped out onto the terrace, stretched, took a swim in the pond, laying on a lounge, went back into the bedroom, walked through the wardrobe into the house, and had a coffee. This is the perfect morning. Every time I wake up, someone calls me right away. There are already some work to be done, and I immediately have to run somewhere. Yes, I want to start the morning like this. At least I planned everything to start the morning like this. Right along the line of the bedroom, my very own private beach. Wow, beautiful. Look friends, this hill, we completely formed it, meaning this hill didn't exist before. So, approximately 300 Maz trucks of sand were poured here to form this landscape, to create this view from above of this terrain. And when we swim in the serene pond, it feels like these are some majestic cliffs covered in lush, vibrant greenery. It's actually really cool. I mean, the plasticity of this relief, it mimics the natural texture of a rock. It's hard to mow, it's hard to take care of. Everyone tells me, buy a robot lawnmower. Folks, no robot lawnmower can navigate these hills, around trees, past rocks and lights. Only a person can do this. I have someone doing this lawn business. I used to do it on my own. It took up all my time. I've now hired, thank God, a gardener who is continuously working, even right now. And this landscape design resembles Scandinavian landscape. The beach, the water, it's all like Scandinavian fjords. And right now we're actively working on the landscape. I don't have much experience in landscaping yet, but my girlfriend is actually making this hill. And we would like the junipers to intertwine through the stones here. Look, right here we are putting these plants directly into the stones. Such as succulents, yes, commonly known as stone roses, a plant that grows right out of the stone. Up there we have some kind of herb growing, I don't remember, it's not caraway, it's called something else, but it smells really, really nice. Here we grow moss. Over here we also grow water lilies, meaning we have water lilies growing in this pond. Little by little, we're integrating greenery into these stones and trying to create something beautiful here. You know what? I probably forgot to tell you about one more room in the interior. Friends, this is the door I showed at the beginning of the video. Let's go in. I'll show you the guest bathroom. I don't like bathtubs that just stand in the interior like a regular box. It looks cool near a panoramic window, but here it's the only room in the house without windows at all. And placing a separate bathtub here would have been definitely unattractive. I wanted to achieve those long lines. Look how it opens. We throw the white clothes here and the black clothes here. This is how we close it. And right here we have the washer dryer. It just finished a cycle, and now the whites are completely freshly washed. Quite comfortable. In fact, the washing machine and dryer are additionally soundproofed because they are located behind a cabinet. You can't hear them from the living room. You can use the bathroom. They are quiet on their own because it's a good Bosch. Plus a soundproof door. This is painted MDF, and many will say, how did you use painted MDF? Moisture will get in here and it will come apart. It depends on the painting of this board. Good sealant, good painting of the MDF. You can use the bathroom without worrying that something will come apart here because the paint creates a protective waterproof layer. Here is a small filler that is needed to hide this partition. Again, I don't like bathrooms with stationary glass fixed in place here because it reduces the size of the bathroom. And in the bathroom you want some size, and this glass it really hides in here. This is how it moves back, quite easily. There, we just moved it a bit. You can take a shower if you need to, because this will be the children's bathroom in the future when part of the house is built over there. And you can also just simply lie in the bathtub, relaxing with no glass in your way. A quite comfortable story. Here we left parts of the concrete walls. So, this is a concrete wall, and this is a concrete wall. Look at how beautiful the outlets are against the concrete wall. A smart home switch is installed here. All of this is in one color. Polished metal, or more precisely anodized metal, which matches the built-in mixer. Against the backdrop of the polished concrete wall, it looks great. The only problem with concrete walls is that they are a bit uneven, so the shelves need to be custom-made to fit the curvature of these walls, because making a perfectly flat concrete wall is kind of impossible. Well, friends, I think we can do it this way. Oh, she ran away quickly. Write your comments about what I haven't mentioned about the house at all. Maybe there are some more topics I haven't covered. You're interested in the smart home, more about the pond, maybe about the landscape, designing interestingly, even selecting plants based on their scent. It would be interesting to know what I haven't mentioned in your opinion, because I tried to cover all the topics, but there's probably a lot more that can be said. And if there are many such comments, if they are interesting, and our editorial team, our digital department decides that another episode with answers to your questions is needed, then I will gladly record it. Give a thumbs up if you like my house, share it with your friends. Maybe we'll see more good architecture around. Hooray guys, the house is indeed built and we're living in it. Bye.